Welcome to northern Germany, as today I'm going to visit one of the busiest railway stations in the whole of Europe, Hamburg Central Station. Together with my friend Jan Christian, I'm going to explore the station, have a look at its history and talk about the challenges that it faces as one of the largest bottlenecks in Germany's railway network. Hamburg Central Station is located on the eastern side of Hamburg's historic city centre, with landmarks such as the town hall just a short walk away. Hamburg Hauptbahnhof is the second busiest railway station in the whole of Europe, with over 500,000 passengers using it every day. Paris Gare du Nord is the only other station in Europe to have more passengers than Hamburg Hauptbahnhof. The station originally opened in 1906. Built on the site of Hamburg's former fortifications, which once surrounded the city. When railways first arrived in Hamburg in the mid-19th century, the city first had 4 separate terminus stations, all located in close proximity to one another. Each station was served by trains from different directions: Bahnhof Klostertor for the north, Lübecker Bahnhof for the northeast, Berliner Bahnhof for the southeast, and Hannoverscher Bahnhof for the south. As this solution wasn't very practical, Hamburg soon decided to build a new central station to consolidate all major routes into one hub. The station building was designed by the architects Reinhard and Süssengurt from Berlin, whose inspiration came from an exhibition pavilion in Paris called the Galerie des Machines. The construction of Hamburg Hauptbahnhof was an engineering marvel of its time, featuring an expansive steel and glass roof which spans over all the platforms. Over the years, the station has undergone multiple renovations and reconstructions, particularly after suffering severe bomb damage during World War II. Nonetheless, much of the original early 20th century architecture remains unchanged until the present day. The platforms at Hamburg Hauptbahnhof are situated below street level, as they were built on the side of the city's former fortification embankment. The station building itself lies above, at street level. 2 main corridors provide access to the platforms, the Südsteg in the south and the Wandelhalle in the north. The Wandelhalle serves as the station's primary concourse, with entrance and exit halls at either end. Originally designed primarily as a waiting hall, the Wandelhalle was transformed into a commercial space in the late 1980s. As part of this conversion, an upstairs gallery, previously used only for advertising, was repurposed to accommodate additional shops and services. Today, the Wandelhalle features a wide range of shops and restaurants, along with essential traveller facilities, including a Deutsche Bahn ticket office, a waiting lounge, and luggage lockers. However, if you want to get more of a view of the trains, I recommend going to the viewing platform on the top floor of the Wandelhalle. In my opinion, this is the best part of Hamburg Hauptbahnhof because you've got an amazing view over the large canopy that stretches over the station, and you can see all the trains coming in on the different platforms, all the people going around, and you can just watch it all happening from above. After thoroughly exploring the main hall, I made my way over to the S-Bahn. Hamburg Hauptbahnhof is served by all 4 of Hamburg's S-Bahn services. The station has 2 sets of platforms dedicated for the S-Bahn. Platforms 3 and 4 lie within the main hall and are used by southbound trains, while platforms 1 and 2 lie in a tunnel situated directly adjacent and are used by northbound trains. The tunnel was added to the station in the early 1980s, and its construction posed significant engineering challenges at the time, as it had to be built underneath a museum while taking consideration of the already existing U-Bahn tunnels, which lie further below. Today, the S-Bahn at Hamburg Hauptbahnhof handles about 270,000 passengers every day, accounting for nearly half of the station's total footfall.
S3 to Hamburg. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
second main mode of transport providing connections to other parts of the city is the U-Bahn. All 4 lines serve the station. However, there are 2 separate stations within the larger station complex. Hauptbahnhof Süd is located at the southern end and is served by the U1 and the U3. This is the older of the 2 underground stations, dating back to the original opening of Hamburg Central Station in the early 20th century. The second station, Hauptbahnhof Nord, can be accessed directly outside the Wandelhalle and is served by the U2 and the U4. Unlike the other underground station, this one was built much later, opening at the end of the 1960s. This underground station is especially interesting as it has an almost hidden piece of infrastructure, an unused tunnel originally intended for another underground line. During the 1970s, Hamburg was already planning a major expansion of its U-Bahn network, which included a new east-west line with its own platforms at Hauptbahnhof Nord. The tunnels were already built in anticipation of this project. However, due to the oil crisis of the early 1970s, the project was put on hold and ultimately never completed. To this day, the 2 tunnels remain a forgotten relic of an ambitious expansion plan that never materialised. While the platforms are fenced off, curious passengers can still catch a glimpse through the gates. Inside, you can see an art installation that was deposited there in the 1990s. There are also many other details indicating the tunnel's old age, such as this wayfinding sign with old pictograms and exit names that no longer exist. But some of the station's remnants remain completely out of sight of the regular passenger, including an abandoned escalator, various old corridors, and even a faded advertisement for a department store that closed over 20 years ago. All these things are not visible for regular passengers, unless of course you are some sort of special VIP who has the special key to access the platform. Too bad I wasn't invited to take a peek inside. However, the tunnels will not remain abandoned forever, as Hamburg is currently planning on building a new underground line, the U5. This new line will make use of the already existing tunnels at Hauptbahnhof Nord, which will mean that one day in the future, these tunnels will finally be brought to life for the first time after being unused for over 50 years. With the U5 set to utilise these long-abandoned tunnels, Hamburg is taking an important step in expanding its transport network. But while the U-Bahn system is growing, Hamburg Hauptbahnhof itself is struggling to keep up. Handling over 500,000 passengers daily, the station has long exceeded its intended capacity. To address this, the city is currently planning a large redevelopment scheme to ease passenger flows in the station, while also improving the surrounding area. Plans include covering the track field in the north, expanding the station building towards the east and the south, and converting the Steintorbrücke, currently a busy road, into a bus and bike-only corridor, with a glass roof spanning over it, connecting the old part of the station with the new part. Some upgrades were already undertaken in the last few years, such as the newly constructed stairways allowing direct access from the platform to the street, so people can avoid going into the crowded station hall. However, while these enhancements do improve passenger flow, they don't provide any additional capacity to the railway network, one of the most debated issues. There have been many proposals of what can be done to address this. These range from repurposing the freight-only tracks for new platforms to creating a whole new S-Bahn tunnel underneath Hamburg city centre to free up more space in the station. Some organisations, like the German transport advocacy group Verkehrsclub Deutschland, have even suggested relocating the station entirely to other areas of the city, like Berliner Tor, where more space for additional tracks would be available. Whatever the solution, it will still take years and significant investment to reshape Hamburg Central Station for the future. Seeing as I was travelling with my friend Jan Christian, who grew up in Hamburg, I decided to ask for his perspective on the station and what could be done to enhance its capacity.
I think it is similar to what I perceive. It is really crowded, it is really full, and the platforms are quite narrow and there's a lot of going on. So busy, full, and sometimes a bit dangerous if you are on the edge of a platform.
There's obviously a lot of possible solutions how to deal with these capacity issues. What do you think the best solution would be for Hamburg in the long term?
I mean, there are always going to be some solutions, but I would like to have at least wider platforms. That would be nice. That would be a bit better for the congestion. But what I liked was an idea that the Left Party has proposed to have an entire tunnel built underneath the train station. So there is going to be like more tracks than what we are getting right now. That was an interesting idea because that way it's going to be like in Berlin where you could have some through traffic going on smoothly.
Yeah.
And perhaps some improvements in the signaling system, like in Stuttgart, where you're going to have some sort of automation and so on. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even though it's very difficult to work with this constrained space, there's actually still a lot you can do.
Yes.
That
The station just suffers from its success, in a way.
Yeah, indeed. For over a century, Hamburg Hauptbahnhof has been a vital gateway to the city, constantly evolving to meet the changing needs of travellers and visitors. With thousands of people passing through it every day and travel demand rising even further in the future, it will be interesting to see what the future will hold. But one thing is for sure, Hamburg wouldn't be the city it is today without its iconic central railway station.